Okay, so good afternoon. Thank everyone for being here this afternoon. I would like to thank everyone for attending. First, I would like to introduce Miss Melinda. She will be providing us information on the can. Thank you, Miss Melinda. Go ahead.
Thank you for giving me a few minutes on your webinar. My name is Melinda Elliott. LACAN stands for Louisiana Council's Advocacy Network. We are a group of moms and dads, people with disabilities, professionals, people that care about people with disabilities for whatever reason, that work on systems change. That systems change usually comes out in the form of legislative advocacy or advocacy with BESI. BESI is the board that governs the state education, the Louisiana Department of Education, and then therefore the state. So right now we're taking community input. You still have time. The LACAN leaders like me, there's one of me in all 10 regions of the state, although the one in New Orleans shares 2 regions, so there's actually only 9 of us, but still, we cover all 10 regions. We gather input. We have 2 community meetings and we gather input and we bring it to the table, and then we discuss it as a group with the Families Helping Families executive directors. We send our recommendations to the Louisiana Developmental Disabilities Council, and they make the decisions. So I want to make sure people understand that if you have ideas about what is working, and for instance, the NOW waiver or the Children's Choice waiver or the ROW or the supports waiver, it may or may not make it to the state advocacy agenda. We also do special education issues. Special education is kind of tricky because sometimes the answers are the law, and we need to go back and figure out how to get specific school systems to follow the law. But sometimes there are things that are systems change, like the April Dunn Act that allows almost everybody with a disability in school to come out with a diploma. Let's see, I cover 5 regions, just like Families Helping Families. It is free. When you're signing up, you're agreeing to get email. Of course, I'm going to hope and encourage you to do something. Typically, you send an email when you get the email. Some of y'all are going to want to tell your stories. I have lots of opportunities for people to tell their stories. And let's see, sometimes when I'm lucky, I'm checking the chat box. Yep, there's Wallace. God bless Wallace. He dropped the link for the website. You can go and join. Remember, like I said, the big thing you're joining and getting is the emails, learning how the disability system works. And I don't see any questions unless you see something I don't see, China. You're muted, China. You're still muted, China.
I said, no, ma'am, I did not.
There you are. All right. Well, I'm giving it back to you, and I'm going to get off of camera and get off of audio.
I must have hit that button like 3 times. Okay. Well, today we are pleased to welcome Ms. Erica Dozier. She is a very special guest from Lake Charles. Ms. Erica is a program manager for Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. Today, she will be sharing with us her expert opinion of programs and resources our lines are muted, so please please have your questions in the chat box. We hope to answer all questions at the end of the webinar. Wallace is assisting me, as you all know. Thank you, Wallace. He will be sending out the PowerPoint if Ms. Dozier is so happen to release that. The survey link and certificates at the end of the session. So with that said, please give your full attention and help me welcoming Miss Erica Dozier. Thank you. Go ahead, Miss Erica.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I put together just a quick PowerPoint just to kind of highlight some of those programs that our community tends to utilize the most. But as I mentioned to China earlier, of course, you can visit our website for more information. Very easy to find online. It's just www.calcasieu.gov. But I want to walk you through the various programs that we offer here in Human Services. What a lot of people don't realize about the Human Services Department is that we're essentially an umbrella organization. We have a lot of different things that we can offer our community under one roof, which really helps us to promote end-to-end service delivery. Oftentimes you may come here for one particular need to be addressed, and through conversation with you while we're conducting case management, there may be other issues that you bring up that you want services for as well. By us being unique in our structure, we're able to connect you to other departments or to other programming to ensure that you are getting all your needs met, not just maybe that emergent thing you may have originally came to see us about. Just to share with you our mission here for the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury Human Services Department is to offer an array of community services through its various offices, initiatives, and collaborative networks. And then on the other side, just lists out the programmatic areas that we have. Our administrative and fiscal, we have our community outreach and auxiliary, community services, economic support programs, community health initiatives, housing, community development, and workforce development and services. So I'm located at 2001 Moling Street. We have the bulk of our services out of this office. Across the street at 2000 Moling, we have our feeding programs. We also have a transit department that's located off of Highway 14. And then off of 3rd Street is our American Job Center. So we're all together human services providing services to our communities. That's what makes us so unique, and our ability to really be able to provide services across the board to individuals in need. So what we're going to cover first is our housing department. Now, with our housing, there is various subsets within the housing department. We have our Section 8 voucher program, which is very similar to the Lake Charles Housing Authority voucher program. But what's unique about ours, it's tied to the surrounding areas. So whereas you may be able to apply for subsidized housing here in the city of Lake Charles through the Housing Authority, we're providing vouchers for housing that are in the outerlying spaces, Vinton, DeQuincy, Moss Bluff area, Iowa. So we're trying to ensure that there's housing stability for those outerlying areas where people are choosing to move to. We do offer housing counseling, which is a very beneficial resource. Oftentimes you have people in the community who are wanting to become homeowners and they want information about how to get connected to resources and plan out those next steps. And what's unique about that particular program, we're able to do just that. We can give you the tools necessary to understand how to prepare for homeownership, the amount of money you may need to save, how to go about purchasing homeowners insurance and how much insurance you should have. Just those things we don't necessarily think of on the front end when we become homeowners. And of course, with the dynamics of the area we live in, we are prone, unfortunately, to natural disasters, which, our history has taught us. We need to be prepared. We need to make sure we have the right amount of coverage and protection for our family and for our homes. And we can educate you on that through our housing counseling program. And it's not just specific to home ownership. We work with renters as well. If for whatever reason they're needing education on what their rights are as renters, you still have rights to certain things as a renter. So we want to make sure we equip you to have the tools necessary to be able to get into a unit and have a very seamless transition into establishing yourself in your unit, and knowing what your rights and rules are, and understanding, if for whatever reason you should become faced with an eviction notice, how to go about that process and how to ensure protection and stable housing for your family. All those things can be covered in housing counseling. We also offer family self-sufficiency towards home ownership. And again, it's just a tool to really engage in understanding the how. There's a lot of families that we work with who, maybe prior to them being curious about what they can do to money manage better, or to how to create a budget, how to ensure that they have money tucked away for a rainy day. Those kind of concepts are taught in that family self-sufficiency course, where you're able to really get the tools necessary to learn how to navigate life better and be able to make things more affordable for yourself and for your family. We have the asset builders component, which I think is a really cool initiative here with the parish, where we have one side that's tied to business capitalization, where we work with you to learn about growing your small business, everything from marketing strategies to how to develop a collaborative network, to how to enhance maybe your service delivery to enhance your clientele. And you are able to work through a course where you will understand the 4 core components of being a small business owner. And upon completion of that course, as you're being taught how to save money and plan for growing your business, we provide a 4-to-1 match. So you say 500, we on the back end provide the $4,000 match that can go towards your small business. Within the asset builders component, we have home ownership as well. Same process, where you go through home ownership classes, you learn about the process. We work with you to establish an IDA where you're saving money on your own, and then we provide that 4-to-1 match, which is very beneficial when it comes to closing costs and things that may incur prior to closing on that home. We also offer permanent supportive housing. In that program, it is individuals who are recognized as having some type of intellectual disability. We can work with them to ensure that they are able to have stable housing, and be able to stay in that housing and be in a stable situation while they're either maybe transitioning to this area, or if for some reason they've had disruption in their housing stability and they're now considered a person that's unhoused or experiencing homelessness, we can work with them as well to get them stable. And then our coordinated entry process. Now, with our coordinated entry process, this program is specific to individuals who are recognized as being unhoused. They work with us through this program to be entered into a database system. I want to say I have a slide further down about that, so I'll give more details about our coordinated entry. But this is specific to our individuals who are currently experiencing homelessness. We want to make sure we can provide outreach and connect them to services for housing stability. We also have our Emergency Rental Assistance Program, or ERA for short, which most of the information you'll see on social media about it just has ERA. This was a grant funding opportunity in response to COVID. I don't know if you all remember, but back when COVID was at its height, people weren't able to work, bills weren't getting paid, mortgages weren't getting paid, rent wasn't getting paid. And this particular funding source came out as a result of that. So we were able to provide housing stability for our citizens, making assistance with arrears payments if for whatever reason they owed so much back rent. In order for them to not disrupt their housing stability, we were able to pay their rent. And we also put down deposits in first month's rent as well. So maybe you've been experiencing homelessness and you have finally have located a place you want to stay. But of course, in the front end, when you're transitioning into moving into a place, there are expenses you're going to incur. There's going to be some things or some added additional fees or costs that may come up. So this is a great way for us to work with individuals to provide that deposit and first month's rent for them on the front end. As I mentioned, our coordinated entry system, this is specific to our individuals experiencing homelessness. There is an intake process. People can either come here to our office, which they do on a regular basis. You can come and visit us here at the office, explain your situation to us. You can also call our hotline, which is our main number, our 721-4030. There's different prompts you'll hear when you'll call, and you'll click on that particular prompt for coordinated entry. The way that program works, we have to put you into this system so you can be tied to the Louisiana Balance of State. This is an organization we work with to end homelessness. So it puts you in the prioritization list, and we're able to track housing vouchers that are available. What's unique about this system, say you're here in Calcasieu and for whatever reason you're deciding, okay, I've located a place to live, but it's not necessarily in Calcasieu. It's actually in the Baton Rouge area or in some other area. By being tied to our coordinated entry system, we could work with other providers who are working to end homelessness and get you connected to that region or that area. So it is a very connected system where we're all working together to ensure we can provide services to our unhoused population. Another big initiative we do with that program is our point in time count, where every year in January, the third week of January, we are out in our community canvassing neighborhoods and taking literally a count of our unhoused population, addressing what their needs are, discussing with them, how long have you been experiencing homelessness? What are some of the barriers that you've been facing dealing with homelessness, and working with those individuals to see if there's ways to connect them to resources. What's so unique about this program, sometimes it is successful to find housing and be able to immediately place a person and then for that person to achieve stability. But sometimes there's other things that are occurring under the surface that we have to address first. So our big role is acting as an advocate and somewhat of a liaison between different service providers and that particular individual that's experiencing homelessness. We want to make sure that as you transition to housing stability, that you're stable in that situation. So, making sure we have a full understanding of that person's background, any trauma they may have experienced, any unaddressed issues they may be dealing with, or any barriers to being housed in a stable situation. We want to cover those individuals' needs as well, so we can ensure stability for them on the back end. So some of the issues that our unhoused population face in our community right now, trust is a big one for us. We go out in our community, as I mentioned, doing outreach work, but sometimes it can take a little bit for a person to feel comfortable enough to open up and really talk about what their issues may be. Unfortunately, sometimes people in our community aren't as nice as they should be to our unhoused population. So it does take effort. Our team does a great job of approaching that person in their own time frame and when they're ready to talk about certain things. And then once that rapport is built, from there, we can kind of navigate the next steps for that individual. Sometimes people aren't quite ready, and that's okay too. We don't want to force them into that next step until they're absolutely ready. So we'll work with them just to provide adequate food. If they need some extra food or extra clothing or hygiene supplies, we'll make sure we get them the things that they need until they are ready to take steps to step out of homelessness. Sometimes they're transient individuals and they may lack certain documentation. I always hear the comment often now, well, it seems like our unhoused population has gotten larger. Well, really a lot of it has to do with there's been different structures in town not meant for habitation where people have been living in. Well, due to the hurricanes and all the different natural disasters we've had, a lot of those spaces became condemned spaces. So a lot of those properties are now being torn down. So people that have always been around, you're now seeing them out more publicly, just because those particular structures are no longer standing due to the hazardness of that particular building or house or whatever the case may be. So you are seeing a lot more unhoused individuals walking around our communities. We do have encampments in different areas. And of course, if you're moving from encampment to encampment, you may lose some of your personal information. You may lose documentation. And of course, that can make it difficult to reach stability because you're going to need a license. You're going to need your social security card, your birth certificate. So we work to make sure we can get those pieces of documents together for an individual. And again, it's to help to propel them to a level of stability. Some are justice involved. It can be hard to sometimes reach a level of stability if you're applying for places where they're not willing to hire because of your background. So we try to network and partner with. We have the Reentry Coalition through United Way that we work closely with to ensure that we can connect those individuals to employers that are willing to hire second chance individuals in order to connect them to economic stability. Lack of affordable housing is an issue as well. If you're already experiencing homelessness, maybe you're receiving benefits, but you're on a fixed income, it can be very difficult to find something within the right price point for you as an individual. You want to make sure you can still care for yourself. You may have medical expenses. You'll have water and utilities to pay for, things of that nature. So we want to make sure, again, that we're aligning the right resources to particular individuals' needs to ensure a successful transition to stable housing. Lack of employment, they may lack certain skills, maybe reading comprehension or not understanding how to navigate on a computer or things of that nature. And then, of course, mental health issues could also be a barrier. Another program that we have is our transit program. What's unique about transit is, well, first, of course, we provide our transportation services, just like the City of Lake Charles bus system. We have bus hours that run, and as I put on the screen, 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's a number you can call. It runs Monday to Friday, taking citizens where they need to go, whether it's doctor appointments, to work, to school, things of that nature. And it covers the inner city of Lake Charles as well as surrounding areas. And a new initiative we started was our reentry program. This is a very specific bus route for individuals that are justice involved. It's a great way to connect them to resources because we want to make sure they can gain stability as well. Now that you've been released and you're back a part of the workforce, what can we do to ensure a successful transition for you? And a lot of times transportation is a big barrier. We want to make sure they can get to doctor appointments as well, or to job interviews, meetings with their probation or parole officer, things of that nature. So we want to make sure we can empower them also. And we do that through our reentry program. And these trips are round trip. I want to make sure I point that out. So it's to that location wherever they need to go and then picking them back up and bringing that individual back home. We also have food care services. As I mentioned, I'm at 2001 Moeling. Right across the street from our office is 2000 Moeling Street. 2000 Moeling provides our senior feeding program. Every third Friday of the month, individuals can come and pick up senior food boxes. There is a process to register for that service. There is criteria you have to meet, and we're able to get you registered for that at no cost, and you can get a senior food box. We also have summer feeding for youth in our community. So when the summertime starts and kids are typically dealing with food insecurity because most of the kids are being fed at school. So of course, when school is closed, that can be a need in our community. And we increased to 39 sites this year. So we were feeding Calcasieu Parish. So kids can come out to various schools where there was feeding locations, and breakfast and lunch was provided to that child. So that's something that we do on a regular basis as well. And then our Calcasieu Child Care Food Program. With this program, it's very unique to in-home daycares. So if you're an individual who has an in-home daycare, you can partner with our this particular program and to be able to provide nutritious meals to the children that are in your home daycare. So it's a really great initiative to ensure that the kids are being provided the very best possible nutritious meals while in care with you. We also have our American Job Center, as I mentioned, was off of 3rd Street. And the mission of that program is we are a partnership of local community organizations and employers providing a comprehensive range of useful career and employment services job training, up-to-date information, which will empower our customers to become self-sufficient and improve their overall quality of life. Simply stated, we put people to work. And that's really what the American Job Center is for. I did list out some of the services provided through the American Job Center. They do quarterly job fairs. The first hour of those job fairs are specific to our veteran population, and then it's open to the general public. Job fairs are also conducted for our reentry population as well. That way we can ensure, as a person that comes that's just as involved, that they're connected specifically to employers who are willing to hire them. Because again, we want to make sure we can set up our community for success, not failures. So we do have specific job fairs for our reentry population. The American Job Center will work with you for resume building, access to services to enhance your literacy skills. You can take the HiSET. There's exams you can take for the different opportunities for plant and industry positions. We also work with employers as well. Say, for instance, you have an organization that has a great team in place, but may be lacking certain skills when it comes to service delivery. Well, on the back end, we can provide skills and services to the staff already in place to enhance their level of productivity in the workforce that they're already placed in. So it's a really neat initiative that we have going on at the American Job Center. We do have partnerships with state organizations as well. We're closely tied to WIOA, which is the Workforce Initiative Act. So we're working closely with a variety of providers to ensure that constituents in this area are getting connected to services to get back to work and to reach economic stability. Another very interesting program that we have here is our Community Services Block Grant. This grant program is probably one of the most flexible programs that we have here in human services because of the way the funding is structured. It promotes economic self-sufficiency for families by connecting them to resources for sustainability. So within our community services block grant, we have helped people with mortgage payments, with rental assistance, education assistance by covering their tuition expenses, or maybe paying for books that they may have needed for a certain course. Recently, we had individuals who went through the fiber optic training at FHFSWLA that was recently offered, that weren't able to afford the cost of it themselves. We were able to offset that cost for those individuals. So we took up that expense for them, and now they're able to work in that particular field, reaching a higher level of economic stability. Also purchasing uniforms or various pieces of equipment you may need to be able to get to work. Because of course, as I mentioned on the front end, you may have secured the job, you may be ready to work, or there may be some things you can't afford. So we can help you make sure you can meet those costs to get you to a level of sustainability. And also resources, like I mentioned, for work and continued education. We also have our SNAP ENT program. This is specific to individuals who are receiving SNAP benefits currently. They're able also to access services to enhance their literacy skills. This program also provides assistance with education, transportation, and childcare. The whole premise behind the SNAP ENT program, it was previously a mandated program that individuals on SNAP benefits had to go to. It has moved since then to a voluntary program, working with individuals to compare them to opportunities in order to get off of that type of assistance at some point. So a lot of our individuals in that program are tied to programs to receive certifications for a higher paying job if they're underpaid, to receive a higher level of education to get a better job. If they're maybe needing just the child care assistance while they're trying to go to school, we can assist with that as well. So it's a very unique program that ties people to economic stability. We also have our low income housing energy assistance program, or how we call it around here, LAHI. LAHI provides utility and water assistance. There are three funding cycles that take place with the LAHEAP program. You have cooling, heating, and then the crisis. So individuals have an opportunity essentially 3 times a year to receive this service. We provide payments directly to Entergy on behalf of that particular client to avoid disruption of service. So if there's someone who's facing a disconnection, or if they've received a disconnect notice, or if for whatever reason their bill is just in the rears and they're unable to afford their payments, they can work with our office. And we also provide energy conservation education, partnering with Project Build a Future. We want to make sure, as you come in and we work with you and we connect you to this service to assist you with paying for that bill, that on the back end, you've learned some tools and tips on how to conserve energy in your home and how to ensure that maybe the next quarter, your bills aren't going to be high because you've purchased maybe blackout blinds or darker curtains, or making sure to set the thermostat at a certain level before leaving the home every day, things of that nature, just to work with you to educate you on how to ensure that your bill stays at a level affordable rate for you. So that is the end of my slides. As I mentioned to China, I did want to give time for questions. So I don't know how you want to do that part, China. If you guys just want to start sharing your questions with me, then I could start answering them.
Yeah, sure. Let me go to the chat and I will.
Oh, and I didn't give, what I'll do in the chat, I will give my email address also. That way, because I know I gave a lot of information, if someone wants information or wants to maybe view more from our website, I'll put both in the chat. And I'll put my number also.
Okay.
That way, if anybody has a question about something or you want to get connected to the service, and if you can't, figure out where you're looking on that website, just give me a call and I can point you in the right direction.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see. The Assess Builder. There was a question about that. It
About
says
asset builders.
It says, will this program help us learn or give us tools if we recently started our small business, have a tax ID, insured, etc., or is it mainly to help get the business off the ground from scratch?
It is for small businesses, and it can vary. I've seen some businesses who have been in town for years who have gone through the program, because there's our world is ever changing, our economic system's ever changing. So you have some who have been in business for 5 and 6 years who have just started the program just to gain more knowledge and more tools to the toolbox, basically, to help grow their business, and for new businesses as well. One of the requirements, you must be registered with the Secretary of State. So you just want to make sure you go through the right process as far as establishing your LLC and things of that nature. But yes, it is open to just starting out versus, someone who's maybe been in business for years and is just wanting to learn a little bit more and to figure out how to grow what they already have in place.
Okay. The other question was, when you spoke about housing, it says they have these housing programs, but do they have any housings available?
Now, we don't have housing stock. I do get that question a lot. We do not have housing stock here. Neither does the city of Lake Charles. The way it works, you can, in our office, we have this bulletin board where we do post. Landlords will bring in when they have available units, and they will post information in that bulletin board box in the lobby area. But we don't necessarily find housing for individuals. We just provide the voucher on the back end.
Miss Melinda asked if you will be sending out copies of your PowerPoint.
Yes, I can do that. I will email it to you as soon as we're done today.
Okay.
And it's a very shorthand version. I encourage you, visit our website. You can see all the different information there. I'll go back and add our website link also to the PowerPoint, along with my contact information in case you need anything further.
Um, And that was it. Those are the only ones that I see, the only questions. And it's the end. I see your information. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Oh, Miss Donnie posted that we will be having, oh, let's see, the Mayor's Commission Conference on October the 4th. If anybody is interested in attending.
Okay, I know Nicole is going. She's actually my next door neighbor here in the building. But I'm not sure what other programs will be present. I can check on that and see.
There was another question. Will funds be available for the utility assistance?
Funds are always available. It depends on whether or not that individual is eligible to receive the funds. So say, for instance, if you came to see me and we took care of your utilities just last month, you wouldn't be eligible for this month. It runs on a quarterly basis. So they have, well, I say quarterly, it's more than that because they run a cooling season and a heating season. So right now we're still in cooling season. So it just depends on when you're provided assistance to and whether or not you're eligible to receive anything further than that. Crisis is specific to individuals of a certain age in those households where they have children under 5 in the home. So it just depends. But I would encourage you to either go to our website, fill out the application online. So we do have an online application process for that. Or call our office and you can talk to someone in the LAHEAP program just to see what your eligibility is, because it does vary person to person, but the funding is on a continual basis throughout the year.
Someone asked about transportation, about it being, is this available in all 5 parish area? And I know that they have transportation systems in each parish, but is there a way, or do the parishes sometimes link up when a person's got to go from one parish to another? Do they meet like at the parish line, or is that possible?
As far as I know, they don't. I know we do have a hard cutoff. I'm not totally sure where that parish cutoff is, but what I can do, I'll add that number in the chat as well. And you'll be able to call and ask directly to the transit office, and they can give you the right information about that.
Okay. And I
There
know
is a
there
hard
should
cutoff
be,
as far as the parish line. I do know that.
yeah, on our website, and we're going to follow up in our email about the Mayor's Commission conference that was mentioned earlier.
Okay.
We will share that with everyone so everyone can register to attend. It's free. Space is limited though, so you want to register early. You want to do it now.
Okay, any other question?
I'm reading, I'm trying to see, there's a doubled grandfather lost book. For Tara, I'm looking at your question. Someone who's been struggling since 2021, are they currently experiencing homelessness, or what is their situation? And that's something you can, discuss with me offline. You can send me an email or call me. We can figure out how to connect them to some assistance. I think that's the last one I saw. Yes, emergency rental assistance is a one-time assistance. In the very beginning, it wasn't. But since then we have literally spent down millions of dollars in that program. So currently is a one-time assistance program for individuals.
Mhm. Let's see, we have one more that popped up. Will that change if they move addresses?
As far as emergency rental assistance, yes. Yes, so if you have already received assistance at one address, you wouldn't be able to transfer that service over to a different address. If I'm answering that correctly, if that's what you're asking. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any others? Now is the time to ask the question.
Yes, and as I mentioned, I will share this information. And I think I want to say I have an e-version of our annual report too. I'll try to attach that as well, China. That way, we can just get the word out about what we offer here. A lot of people don't realize we have a lot of different things under one roof that we can provide to our community. There's no need for a person to not figure out how to get help when there's help available. And if there's things that we're not able to provide, then we can always connect you to an organization that can. That's been the beauty of how we're structured here with the parish. So we're able to connect people to services through our various community networks that we have.
Right, right. Okay, well, thank you, Miss Erica, for
You're
all that
welcome.
good information.
You're welcome.
It was definitely useful. And it will be used for the families that we work with.
Mhm.
So I appreciate everyone for taking the time for being here. I hope to see y'all on our next webinar. You can find a listing of those on our website or our Facebook page. Please do our survey and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.